What's up, everybody? Hey, you know, I have strict rules. When I say I'm gonna do something, I really try to keep to it and do it. And you know, I couldn't make it happen this morning because of work. And I was all, and we're actually going on a trip. I'm going to see my parents for a little while. So we're gonna go into the northeast and go see my parents. It's gonna be really cold. We're not gonna stay there through Christmas, but that's where we're going. And I was like, you know what? I gotta make good on it. I gotta do it every week. And I didn't say I wasn't gonna do it, so of course I had to do it. But the key here is that I have no plan, and this isn't a coffee talk. It's a beer talk. So if you're curious what I'm drinking, I think I drank this last time on the chat. Okay. It's called Parat. It's a Belgian ale, product of Belgium. And there's an interesting backstory that says, that these drunk-ass pirates didn't bring food on board, and because this was such a high alcohol content, they could hang. This could keep them alive at sea. I don't know if that's true. But if they were at sea drinking this at 10.5% alcohol, those were some drunk-ass pirates. So can you imagine? Oh, we don't have any bread. Just drink some Parat. You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. How many beers did we order tonight? Just one. I only got one. I didn't order them. I already had them. This was one left over from the other day. The leftover beer talk. That's right. That's right, man. Yeah, so I'm taking a little bit of time off, but then I'm coming back to work. So it's not like I'm off till Christmas. It's just I took a couple days off to see my family. I've always wanted to go back there for Christmas. I used to go back all the time, and then, you know, I had kids and all that stuff, and it just didn't happen as much as I wanted it to. The kids actually aren't coming with me. It's going to be just myself and Kim, but yeah, let's see. What do we got here? Is that just the bottom half of the other? No. Thank you for the super chat, Stringer. Thank you for both of them. So I did want to ask, so there was like a question in here. This is going to be like part 2 of the Ask Me Anything show because I don't have a plan. There's a couple things. There's actually one item I want to talk about, but that's pretty much it. All right, I'll lower the music. Yeah, there was one item I wanted to talk about, and that's the Afterburner. But let me see. So I got a question. Says, my question is, you asked the other day about how to increase your viewership. Have you gotten any ideas? I was just kind of cranky that day. You know, sometimes I get cranky just like everybody else. And I'm over it though. But I mean, it's just, you know, I feel like I put a lot of effort into YouTube, and I do it because I really enjoy it. It's not because, you know, no one's forcing me to do it. And but I really enjoy it. And I really enjoy those unique shows like the Chasing Nostalgias, the longer form content. Like, I really enjoy that. Like, that's my passion. But I also went to school for video production. So I love that. But it's cool because, like, I didn't really have, you know, I didn't go, you know, my day job is not video production. But the thing is, I got really excited about, well, YouTube will give me the ability to, like, use that creative part of it. But I was like, man, I didn't know what I would do because. But then my buddy's like, well, you love arcade, so why don't you just talk about what you love? And I was like, boom, like, that was so simple. How come I, you know? So it's just like I married the two together. So I don't know. It's not like a, you know, it's one of those things. It's like, I was complaining at the time, but everyone gets in moods, you know, like there's things I was in a mood and now I'm not, and I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm very happy with the success we've had. You know, I'm happy that a lot of the people that came along with me that were maybe fans of arcade gaming, but they started with like Arcade 1-Up and they've come along with me. And I like that. You know, not everyone, you know, some have dropped off. Actually, a lot have, but that's okay. You know what I mean? Because you got to follow your heart. You know what I mean? Do what you want to do. And I think sometimes people fall into things and then maybe it's not even their own fault, but they get like caught in a rut where they just don't, they maybe want to do other things, but they're scared to do other things. You know what I mean? So anyway, so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. And if people come, they come. And if they don't, they don't. And a lot of you guys did. So that's cool. Encore's Arcade. Hey man, what are you doing right now that you need a break? Are you just hanging out at home? Like, let me know what you're doing. So let's talk a little bit about, thank you everyone for tuning in. So I want to talk a little bit about, so I got like 2 really awesome arcade cabinet pickups in the past month, right? I got an Afterburner And then I got the Robotron, and I got a Moon Patrol and that Sega, or that Sega, the SNES Super System. But I was excited. The Afterburner was like, that's my childhood, guys. Like I didn't tell this story. The reason the Afterburner is I absolutely loved it. I remember if they had the stand-up version at my arcade, I never paid attention to it. It was the cockpit or the deluxe version that they had. And you guys know it was at that time where that game was really popular. You know, they showed it in Terminator 2. John Connor was in there. They showed that clip there. And it was just that cabinet, you know, came out. You got T2. You had it. It was inspired by Top Gun. Everyone loved, I mean, at least when I was a kid, I used to love, my grandfather would take me to this air show. I think it was Quonset, the Quonset Air Show, I think is what it was. And I can't remember if that was in Massachusetts or Rhode Island. I can't remember. But I remember, here's one thing I remember, right? I was wicked into the F-14 Tomcat. But I remember one year my grandfather's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. The Harrier is going to be there. And I don't know if you guys remember the Harrier. It was the first fighter jet that could take off straight up. Do you guys remember that? I was really into like fighter jets as a kid. But do you guys remember that at all? Who in the chat just tweeted at me, then deleted it? I don't know. Do you guys remember that, though? The Harrier was badass. I mean, it was badass. It was like it was the first jet that could take off from like this. It took off like this. It didn't need a freaking runway. It was freaking epic. I was like, what? And I remember my grandfather brought me to the air show and I saw that. But anyways, the whole point was my grandfather and I had that connection where he was Navy. He knew as a kid I loved planes, so he'd always take me to the Quonset. I think it was Quonset. The Quonset Air Show. I don't remember if it's in Rhode Island or New England. If anyone's here from New England, they might know. Actually, Endless One-Up's from Boston. Maybe he knows. But I used to love it. And so we had that connection. Like my grandfather and I had a lot of things. Like we both liked movies. So we'd go to movies a lot. We both liked like film and stuff like that. So we do a lot of that. But I remember vividly, like the air show was a thing I looked forward to every year. And so when he would take me to the arcade, which was in my town, it was just there's this little mall called Lincoln Mall. I've talked about it in videos before. It was a small mall. It was like the typical like 80s mall, right? And, had a fountain in the middle, like all that bullshit. It was like a really like typical mall that you'd have in a small town. I'm actually shocked that our town even had a mall because it was a really small, like very woodsy area I grew up in. Chad, who's in the chat, he's from Rhode Island too. It was really, really small. Like the town, it wasn't a big town. So I don't know why there was a mall there, but there was. And the Dream Machine was like the arcade. And they had that deluxe Afterburner. My grandfather would sometimes just pick me up. He'd call my mom and be like, hey, I'm going to pick you up and take you over to, I'll take you to the Dream Machine. And he liked playing skee ball. He was big into skee ball. And so, he had this move he used to teach me where and actually I still do it to this day if I play skee ball. I can't do it as good as him, but he would roll the ball up I don't know what you call it, the play field, whatever you want to call it. And he would angle it in such a way where it would almost hit, like, remember, like, imagine this is like the gutter right here. He'd hit it right before the gutter and it would shoot up and almost all the time get into like the 100. And it was super cool because I remember always trying that. But anyways, the point I'm getting at here is when I'd go with him, I'd always want to play Afterburner, and he'd let me play a couple more times. Obviously, your grandparents spoil kids sometimes. And he'd let me play like a couple more times than my mom would, because that game was expensive. Like it was, I don't remember what it was, but it was probably like 50 or 75 cents. I don't know if it was $1. $1 seems excessive, but I really don't remember. But my grandfather passed away, by the way, last year, but oh gosh, it's almost 2 years ago now. But we shared that connection. So like that game was nostalgic for me because I liked the game. I liked fighter pilots. It was something I did with my grandfather. So like nostalgia can be really powerful, Nostalgia can be really powerful, but it was also that moment that I shared with him, and he was someone that was really meaningful to me in my life. You know what I mean? Like my grandfather, like we did everything. Like we did everything together. I even watched shitty Star Trek. He used to VHS record every freaking Star Trek. I hated Star Trek, but I would watch it with him because it was my grandfather. Like I loved hanging out with him. Like he was just the coolest dude. And yeah, I don't know, like the game, when I got it, I don't want to cry on there, but then I got the game. When I got the game, it like made me, it was weird. Like, have you ever been in some situation where the nostalgia overload is so like there's all these things like pulling on different senses, and you remember that person a lot. You know what I mean? And in that moment, I like when I took because the guy came and when you get stuff delivered from Beltman, which is who I use to ship arcade games, I usually just have him throw it in the garage. I usually don't have it put it in my house, but I had him put this one in my house. And I remember when he took the blankets off, it was just like weird. It was like a weird reaction. It was weird because some random guy I don't know is here delivering it. And it was just a weird, like, even though that wasn't the one, I didn't play the stand-up one as a kid. I don't recall at least ever playing that, but it was the game. It was the sound it makes when you coin it up. It's just pretty awesome. So that's cool. So I'm sure you guys, if you have a story, I probably can't get to them all, but if you have a story that like you can think of, where gaming and nostalgia, or even anything like movies, whatever, I feel like those things stick with you, especially if they were happy moments, and every time my grandfather and I were hanging out, it was always something cool. Like I remember he took me to, maybe it was like Super Dimensional, I think, is from Boston, and so is Endless One Up, and then you got Chad in there too. There was a battleship. Maybe it was the Battleship Massachusetts. And I remember he took me there. Like he just took me to do cool things. Like he knew what I was into, but he was kind of into the same stuff. And I don't know if I was just influenced through what he was into, which is probably the case, right? But man, yeah, I just remember all that stuff. Like the thing I'll never forget the air shows. The air shows are cool. I tried to take my kids there. Sometimes you try to share moments you had with like your parents or your grandparents with your kids, and it just doesn't resonate. There's been some that do, but there's been a couple where I'm just like, my kids don't care. You know what I mean? They're like, yeah, cool. I don't know. It was a different time too. Like it was simpler things that would get us excited then. We didn't have all this like super uber technology. I feel like the magic is gone for kids, kind of. Like I don't see my kids really getting all that excited about things anymore. Things like we used to. Like even remember that movie. I was also another thing. If you guys grew up in the same time I did, you'd be obsessed with this too. Super obsessed with space, right? Like NASA. And do you remember that movie Space Camp? Like thermal curtain failure. That movie, like it. That kind of stuff too. Like my grandfather was really into that kind of stuff too. But anyways, all right. Super chat from Chad. My grandma played skee ball at Dream Machine because there was a version of it on the Price is Right, and she wanted to try it. I didn't know that. I didn't know that they had that on the Price is Right. All right, DK Mikey 77 has something to say. He said, my grandfather took me to our mall arcade sometime when they opened in the morning. He would play pinball and I would play arcades and pinball. Yeah, DK Mikey, what's interesting is like I don't remember. They probably had pinball at Dream Machine, but I do not remember it. It was weird. I don't have like a whole lot of memories. The only memory I have of pinball, the only one is my sister went to Syracuse University. She didn't graduate from Syracuse University, but she went there for like a couple years. And in their break room was a T2. So the reason why you always hear me so obsessed about that T2 pinball is because as a kid, I remember playing it. And when I would go to visit her at college, that wasn't an exciting thing for me. But I'd always go into the break room area. It was like a common area or whatever. I don't know what you'd call it. It was like a common area. And they'd have that T2, and I remember playing with other kids, like other college kids. So the sounds of that game really bring me back too. But I don't remember pinball. I just don't. That was the only memory I really have of pinball. Oh, that's all right. So, anyways, guys, if you do have questions, put in the chat. The easiest way to do it for me to like catch my eye is just put question, and then the question. And I'll try to get to some. I'm not going to stay on that long. I felt really bad that, I say I'm going to do something. I want to always make good on that. And I really didn't this morning. And I just couldn't with work and stuff. So, Haroff, did you get a present for yourself on Christmas? I did. It's kind of lame. I got these, there's these tube, I didn't come yet, but there's these tube lights that I wanted for when I'm filming in the garage. Like I wanted to be able to illuminate the background, different colors. I'm kind of doing it right now. You may have seen it in a couple videos. I have these lights that kind of shoot up, but I want they're like these big long tubes, and you can adjust the brightness, the color. You can sync them together so they can both be sharing the same color. You can put them on different channels. They're really cool. But I wanted them. A lot of like photo shoots will use them. They're pretty cool, but I think it will I think it'd be fun to have them in the garage and get some lighting, because I haven't really I don't know. I haven't decorated the garage like it's a game room. It's just kind of a garage with games in it. All right, our kids just don't like what we did back then, but trying hard to get my younger ones on board. Yeah, some stuff they, and we got to try, but some stuff they'll get on board with and some stuff they just won't, It's different times. Like the tech, I feel like the tech part of it, it's so weird because I love technology, but I also feel like we were kind of the last generation. Maybe it was one after us, maybe the one after us, but we were kind of like the last ones out where we didn't have all this crazy stuff. Like, can you imagine if you're a kid and you're playing a Commodore 64 and someone hands you a smartphone, you'd be like, what? You know what I mean? You'd be like, what the hell? Like, we thought that was the coolest freaking game system ever, and it was a computer, and it's, or even like Atari, I mean, you had to be real creative with Atari. But we didn't think anything of it because we just thought it was so cool, It's a good question, though, on the Christmas present. All right, let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any actual questions in here. But, yeah, that's interesting, Mike. He says the access to the internet waters down every experience dramatically from our childhoods. Yeah, it really does. Like, I just remember little things that being so much more exciting than they are now. And even there's been times I brought my kids to, this is years ago, but I brought my kids to Universal Studios, and they had all right, Endless or Super Dimensional's going to kill me because he's wicked into Transformers. I don't remember names of stuff, and I loved Transformers as a kid, but I can't remember. Who's the bad guy? I don't know. The Autobot, Decepticons, I don't know. Anyways, they had this big ass Decepticon. I'm probably saying it wrong, whatever it was, and he was like outside the Transformers ride. He was huge. It was like a gigantic, real freaking Transformer. To me, I was like, like I was almost speechless. I was speechless, guys. Like, I'm like, oh, it's a freaking Transformer that's full size walking around and talking. And they're just like, are you fucking out of your mind? It's a real Transformer. Yeah, Megatron. I'm like, Megatron's right there. How can you, like, they didn't care. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you guys? I don't know. Like, that blew my mind. I was just staring at it like a weirdo. I was staring at it. They probably were like, who is this weird guy? I was all, oh my God, they're real. Oh my God. No, it can't be. They didn't even care. They're just like, yeah, Dad, I want to go over to the like smoothie bar. I'm like, what? I'm like, it's freaking, sorry, I didn't remember it was Megatron. I'm like, it's goddamn Megatron, and you want to go to a smoothie bar? I was like, what's wrong with you? It wasn't even a smoothie bar. It was whatever, like, I don't know. It was like, they wanted a freaking butterbeer from whatever the heck that thing is. Another show I don't really watch. The Lord of the Flies, whatever the hell it is. It's not that. The Hobbitville. I don't even know what it was. Like, we want a butterbeer, Dad. We want a butterbeer. I was like, what the hell is a butterbeer? I'm like, you're a kid. You don't drink beer. And if you did, why would you put butter in it? That's stupid. You kids. Kids are ridiculous. All right. Did you just ferment your naughty bits? No, Endless. That is a terrible question. Well, it's a curious question, but no. Okay. What do we? Yeah. No. Exact. No. Not a great question, Mike. No. Don't egg him on. And no, I don't. Yeah, Harry Potter. Yeah. What did I call it? Lord of the Flies. Whatever. It was actually good. We went over and drank the freaking butterbeer because I'm like, yeah, cool. Yeah, cool. You don't care about Megatron. And then the only thing they did care about is the monkey. The donkey from Shrek was there. And he was like making fun of my daughter and stuff. And he's like, hey, Sophia, you Sophia the first, you Sophia the second, Sophia the third. And like he's doing this thing. And she liked that. She's like, hee hee. And that was cool. Okay, I admit that was cool. And he was like asking my son stuff, and my son wouldn't talk. So he's like, you're not a man of many words. It's like funny. It's like not that funny, but kind of funny. You know what I'm saying? Holy crap. Those butterbeers are 2,500 calories per pint. Are they really? Oh man, no wonder I didn't feel that good. I rocked that butterbeer like no one's business. Well, I don't know. Why do they call it just for men? Can't women use it too? I think so. I think they can. I think they can. Oh, did they get rid of Shrek at Universal Studios? I gotta go back to Universal Studios. So I'll tell you one story too. Is I bought at the time I had a corporate work card. My work was crazy back then. By the way, this is years and years and years ago. It was like 2016. I worked for a startup, which I still work for, but we're not a startup anymore. And I've always been in tech, but this was like a really once in a lifetime interesting opportunity. But anyways, whatever. I worked at the startup. I really enjoyed it. But at the time I had like a corporate card, and I remember asking my boss, I was like, hey, it says that there's incentives if you book it with like I can't remember. It was like an American Express, I think. I can't remember. And I had to work American Express. He's like, yeah, cool, go for it. Work didn't pay for it. I paid for it. But like I wanted to use the card because it said you got all these perks. I know they shut them down because I checked, but they had all these like checkpoints throughout Universal Studios that were like these hidden rooms that you could go into, and they'd be like, oh, hello, Mr. Ronzio. Like, oh, I see you and the kids are having a fine day. And they'd like talk to you about the park and whatever and feed your kids a bunch of food and stuff. It was freaking awesome. And my kids thought I was like a celebrity. They're like, oh my God, Dad, they're treating us so good. I was like, yeah, of course. I was like, yeah, of course they are. I mean, it was really cool, but they don't have it anymore. I checked. Someone I know, I can't remember who it was, because I don't remember anything. I don't remember what happened yesterday, but there was someone was saying they were going to go to Universal, and I was like, oh my gosh, book it go look it up. There's like these secret access rooms, but they don't have it anymore. E.T., but they don't still have E.T., right? No. Do they still have the E.T. ride? I remember that ride as a kid, but I'm pretty sure that that's not there anymore, right? My favorite ride, no, I didn't do any of that then. Yeah, I didn't do that. I didn't do that back then. I don't know. Hey, Lewis, I hope you're not doing double duty. Why wouldn't they? I didn't think they'd had the ET anymore. I thought they kind of like decommissioned rides. Like Universal used to have Back to the Future, and they got rid of Back to the Future, which was like freaking epic. They did let Tulsa Arcades in Mario World. Yeah, that looks cool. Like I was looking at some of that stuff. That looks badass. I definitely need to take a trip back there. My kids loved. Oh, is it still in Florida? That's awesome. Okay, because I don't think it's in the California one. I'm almost positive because I would have definitely dragged my kids to that when we went. Now, and this was years and years and years ago. So, yeah. That's it. Oh, that's it. I didn't know that. So Tech Toy TV, I didn't know that, man. How are you, by the way? I hope things are going well. So I wanted to show you guys something. There was a video that I was going to play you guys from when I picked up the Afterburner that I didn't get a chance to do because whatever happened that day. I think that was the day that everything went to shit. I can't remember. But I'm going to play it for you now. This was kind of an update when I got the Afterburner. I've already done a video, so it's a little bit past, but if you didn't see it, this was the night I was working on it. I can't even remember what I said when I was filming this. But this was when I had the graphics issue. I hadn't fixed it yet. So let's take a look at this really quick, and then I'll get back to you guys. But put in some questions, man. I don't see any questions in there. If you want to put in questions, put in question and then the question. All right, let's fire this up.
All right, here's the Afterburner project. You can see it's in pieces right now. That's the monitor shroud that goes across the front. You'll see that light right there. That actually illuminates when you're locked on to a target, but I'm using an LED light, and the LED light stays a little bit dim, so I might go back to incandescent lights. I'm not sure why LED lights do that, but the side art on the right side looks pretty good. Has a little chunk missing on one side, but it's unfortunate because the other side is literally perfect. So, I don't know. This is one where the cabinet, it looks really good, so I may just leave it as is. The speakers are out right now because they were pretty much both blown out. They were probably just in full blast in the arcade forever, so they just couldn't handle it for that long. The X-Men control panel came in, so I'll be working on that. So add that to the project list, which is getting longer and longer and longer. And then down here, you'll see my janky audio setup because the audio amp was half working. Only the left channel was working, the right's not. So the audio circuit needs to be rebuilt, but for now I have it hooked up to this amplifier just so I can get sound, test everything out, but I'll see if I can rebuild the amplifier. So that's my temporary solution. And then the relay for the lights when someone's locked on to you, That's broken, so I need to fix that, and I have a replacement part. So in the video I'll be publishing this week, you'll see that update.
All right. So that was that. That was that video. I meant to show that to you weeks ago. I've since fixed the warning lights up top. Those are all fixed, and that was that relay, so that did work, and I did show that in the video. And I haven't replaced the speakers yet. I'm still kind of using the old speakers, but I say they're blown out. They just, you can tell they've been beat up. They're not blown out, but they kind of are. I mean, if you've ever listened to a blown out speaker, that's kind of what they sound like. So I need to replace those. But the thing you have to be careful with is those speakers are so close to the monitor, you have to use shielded speakers, because what'll happen is, if you guys ever as a kid put a magnet up to a CRT, you know what happens, right? It'll turn purple or discoloration. So you have to make sure if you're because those speakers are so close to the monitor, you can't use a non-shielded speaker. So I ordered some shielded speakers that'll be coming pretty soon to put in there. But for right now, it's fine. It's not, it works. So anyway, super chat from Stringer, that Back to the Future ride got too shaky. Really? Oh, is that, dude, please don't tell me that's a freaking, don't know. You can't do a Michael J. Fox joke. I hope that's not what it is, because that's sad. Don't do that. All right. I don't even know. I'm so dense sometimes. I have no idea. Maybe that's just a joke that I don't understand. All right. Would you ever consider for a newbie to go with a custom digital pinball machine instead of the original one? Dude, that's a tough one. That's all preference, man, because there's a lot of factors, right? It's affordability. It's, what you want to get out of it. If you play a lot of regular pinball and you go to digital pinball, I mean, some people just don't like digital pinball. You know what I mean? I don't care anymore, about digital pinball, really. I'd rather play real pinball, but that's just me. I kind of got it's weird. I kind of fell into pinball after the Pinball Expo 2 years ago. And I even was I came back, I'm nah, I don't really like it that much. And then I started playing it more and more. I was seeking out local places. It's just fun. Pinball's really a lot of fun. And what's cool about it is maybe you don't even buy one. Go look up local pinball locations in your area and make it a social thing. You know what I mean? Go out, get out of the house. It gives you a reason to get out. And I find a lot of women are really good at pinball. Put your wife in front of a pinball machine if she's never been in front of one. I swear they have better reaction time. There's something weird. Nick Madsen's wife rocks it at pinball, and Kim doesn't have the best fundamentals, but she's always good. She reacts really, really quick. I don't know. She just reacts quick. But I would just go out and enjoy pinball in local places. They're expensive, you know what I mean? It's a big investment, and if you I would never say someone go out and buy a brand new 10 grand or 7,000 or 6 grand unless you're really into it. Go explore, go to pinball barcades and see what you like. But you can do a virtual pinball project on the cheap if it's something you want to try out. But anyways, sorry. I hope that answers the question. Ralph, be sure to take lots of pics and vids of your parents when you visit. Take it from someone who's, oh man, I'm sorry to hear that, Lewis. Yeah, I know, man. My parents are definitely getting older, so I do think about that, especially with my grandparents passing. It was kind of it was weird. It's I know a lot of people, their grandparents kind of have passed a lot when they were a lot younger, and mine were pretty old when they passed, and it was just really weird. You kind of take it for granted, not take it for granted, but you don't. You almost think they're invincible, right? They're never gonna be unhealthy. But anyways, have you ever? I'm sorry to hear that, Lewis. But yeah, that's a good piece of advice. Have you ever played Dirty Driving, and do you like it? It's basically Mario Kart. I don't think I have. Dirty Driving. I don't think so, man. I might have to check that out. All right. That is true. The video quality is really bad. On Back to the Future the ride, it is, because you can go download it. I think they made it available. You can download it on YouTube, so it's very interesting. It's not very good. Yeah, Captain's Auctions. I was talking to Chris, and Chris was, oh man, hold on. Jeez. Chris was saying that he was like, hey man, you got any console stuff? And I didn't want to bring any of my console stuff to him because he's new to that, and I thought maybe I might not get top dollar, but I want to get rid of some of my old console stuff. I just don't play it very often. It's taking up a lot of space. The Sega stuff, that's pry it out of my cold dead hands. Yeah, I agree with Princess Jillian. Play on location, expensive and hard to maintain. I have a newer pinball machine, and I haven't had to do anything yet other than clean it. But it will. You know, you'll get issues with it eventually. I am not drinking coffee this late. Actually, I'm drinking a beer. So Shotgun Sean, well, you know, he's just messing with me. Shotgun Sean's like, I'm drinking a beer right now, brother. I don't even know what you're talking about. Arcade Eric, what's up, my friend? How are you? I hope you're having a good one. I did want to tell you about something I just learned about. So while you guys are thinking of questions, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids 4D was cool at Disney in 95. I never got a chance to experience that. So that's interesting. Or at least if I did, I don't remember. Thank you, Rudy. I appreciate that, buddy. I really do. You could probably just drive here and say, bless you. You're so close. He's really close. Yeah, Papa Brad's Gaming says support local arcade. Definitely do that. Do that, man. There are some that are closing lately, and it's weird because there's like this weird phenomenon. So many of them are doing awesome, but I'm hearing about these closures, and it's interesting. Like, I'm wondering what the constant is about. Some of them post-COVID are doing awesome, while some of them are not. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if they just had a hard time weathering the storm while other ones didn't. But there are a lot of them that are thriving right now and doing better. And that documentary that hopefully is going to come out that I'm in, we talk a lot about post-COVID, these locations thriving. So, and some of them, and the documentary goes into like what was happening to some of these barcade locations during COVID. So it's pretty interesting, but it's not like it's a negative. It's not like it's like it's not a super like dwell on COVID, but it does kind of show the troubles these places went through, when basically the states, depending on where you we're not allowing, people to go there. So, all right. Super chat from Alex. Hey buddy, best all-in-one cab for 1.5 to 2K. I'm thinking you mean arcade. That's tough because when you say all in one, do you mean like a DIY build? Because that's a tough one. That's really a tough one. Let me think about that one, man. Thank you for the super chat. Let me think about that one, and I'll try to remember to answer it because there's so many options now. Clax has a good question. It says, Ralph, any chance of going to Fun Spot in New Hampshire? I'm definitely in 2023. Fun Spot's on the list of places to go. I'm trying to see if I can get Stringer to want to go there too. He's thanks, Shotgun Sean. I appreciate that. All right, let's see. I know what I was going to tell you about. While I'm kind of going through the chat here, Arcade Craft said, "Hey Ralph, did you try the polycade setup you were talking about? It's been hit or miss for me." That's interesting because my buddy Cole is like in love with it. He's loving the polycade. He's like he calls the polycade. I'm not going to say it. It's going to cause a bunch of drama. Anyway, he loves the polycade. He loves it. So I haven't had a chance to. I have it's been like really, really hard to do things. Like I have to like focus on one thing, right? And right now, arcade restorations is it. I do want to, in 2023, in the first like 3 months, I want to do an emulation project. And I was going to partner with Game Room Solutions to get the cabinet. There's a cabinet they have called the Slant, which is kind of like, it kind of reminds me of a candy cab, but with an LCD monitor in it. And I'm thinking about that's the one I'm going to use to build my polycade. So I'll let you know. We'll do. It's a good question. Unfortunately, I haven't had time, but I think like in the first 3 months of 2023, that's going to be something I'm going to really focus on. And I haven't really done an emulation project in a while, so it'll be fun. When will Rush Ralph snag a music arcade cabinet? A music arcade? You mean like one of the rhythm games? I don't know. I'm not that into those games, but hey, if one came up for a decent amount, I might, Well, that's the thing. So the polycade, keep in mind, you can DIY the polycade now. The software is free, and you can buy their encoder boards. Now, what's really cool about their encoder boards, this is what I love. This was always the issue I used to have with Raspberry Pis, is you have to software assign. You have to software assign your encoders so that every time you reboot it or it boots up, you make sure like player 1 encoder is still player 1 encoder and player 2 encoder is still player 2. The polycade was like, but it's still a software assignment. So there's no like hard, software is software, right? It can mess up. So they were like, let's hard code it make it an option on the encoder, like basically a dip switch to say this one is always player one. So the software will never assign it anything but player one. And I know if you guys have ever built a Pi setup, or even a PC setup, you maybe like something happened, your Windows updated, and all of a sudden your USB devices were like assigning themselves different IDs, and player one became player two. It's a pain in the ass. There are ways around it, but it's still software. So I'm really into that. I really like that they did that. They partnered with Brooks to make that a setting specific to polycade, which is really cool. I don't know if those encoders would work with non-polycade software. I bet they probably would. But I like that idea. Like, that's a smart move by them, because that's been like one of those pain points for a while. Stringer Films with a super chat. You pick it up and I'll stick it. You pick it and I'll stick it. Trivia movie quote. I have no idea. You pick it and I'll stick it? I don't know. Does anybody else know? I don't know. Okay, so question from Jonathan. Hey, buddy. Thanks for always supporting the channel. I always see your name in there, and it's cool to see people that have been supporting the channel for a while. Can't remember. Did you ever look or consider obtaining a Dragon's Lair? I did. I wanted to get David down in Tucson to sell his. He won't sell it. He will not sell it. So, Flea said it. Was it Back to the Future 3? Was it when? I don't remember that line. And I'm like, I could probably recite every line from those movies. I don't remember. Oh, oh my gosh, son-in-law. Nice, man. Nice, DK Mikey. So, hey, I found out about this when I got the Afterburner. I was doing a bunch of Google searching for different things. So I was having problems with one of the ROMs, which after I can't remember the number of the ROM, but after I reburnt it, that graphical issue went away. But I discovered there's a really cool, I won't play the whole video because it's kind of long. There's something really cool that I didn't know exists that I want to share with you guys. For the 30th anniversary, this was released. Oh, crap. Did I not upload the video? I thought I did. Hold on. Why is it not showing up? Oh, there it is. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to play this for you guys. Check it out. This is really cool.
Sega Afterburner. What a beast of a game. One of my favourite arcade games of all time. And it turns 30 this year. So what better way of celebrating its birthday than with...
By the way, this year was 2017 that it turned 30.
...the enhanced version of the ROM set. I was inspired to do this after playing the M2 version of the game, which is fantastic. It's on the 3DS. You've got lovely 3D graphics, a new game mode designed by the Ikaruga designer, new music tracks, and lots of other cool features too. Definitely worth buying if you don't have a copy. The problem with it is, it's on the 3DS, and it's a bit crap. So, if you want to play Afterburner properly, you really need the machine. You need the analog controls, you need the throttle stick. It just doesn't feel the same anywhere else. So if you're lucky enough to have the original machine, the enhanced version of the ROMs are for you. They bring a working free play mode, high score saving, new music tracks, software dip settings, and many more changes and improvements that you wouldn't have had before. Really, I've focused on making this the definite version to run in a home environment. So if you've got the machine at home, it will make it a lot more usable. It will save you having to reach inside the machine, change dip switch settings, and all these other annoyances that you'll have had to have done before. There's no hardware modifications needed to run the enhanced version. All you need to do is install 3 new EEPROMs. You don't need to do any soldering. It's very plug and play. So let's take a look at some of the features with the enhanced version of Afterburner.
One of the first all right, so this is really cool, obviously. I did donate. So, like, you can donate a little bit of money and he'll give you access to the ROMs. So I have these. I haven't burnt them yet only because I don't want to burn the original ROM. I don't want to erase the original ROMs and burn them. I want to pull the original ROMs. And it has, like, there's one weird ROM chip that I don't have. So I'm waiting on to get that so that I can burn it and use it, because this is really cool. So they added some music that got cut from the game. They added free play. You'll see really quick. I'll share that for a minute, and then there was another interesting comment. Actually, before I do that, I'll bring up 2 comments. Mike says There's an Afterburner topper. Was that something found in arcades? I don't think so. I never remember seeing that. I could be wrong, but I don't remember seeing that. And then DK Mikey said, I'm counting the days for the Smarty Pie to come out. So for those of you who don't know, the Smarty Pie is actually, we'll actually, I'm gonna table that, DK Mikey, but I'm very interested in the Smarty Pie too. So the Smarty Pie is a pretty cool solution. But anyways, let's play a little bit so you can see a little bit more of it. I'm not gonna play the whole video.
Using Afterburner in a home environment is there isn't a working free play mode. You'll look at the manual and you'll see, I can enable free play mode, and yeah, you'll get the text in the bottom left. Doesn't work. So this version of the game, you've got a full working free play mode.
That is true. There is no free play mode on Afterburner, so you have to coin it up or put like a fake coin button or something like that.
Reaching inside this cabinet door here, finding the button to insert a credit. None of that faff. Just press.
I have to do that on mine.
Here. There you go. The game starts.
Dude,
and what have you got here? So here you've got two new menu options: enhanced music and stage.
So basically, I'll stop it now. So basically, you can there's an enhanced music, which is 2 additional tracks, which I guess got cut from the original game, but I guess they're really good. And then the other one is you can level select. So if there's 23 levels, I think, in Afterburner, the owning it is the first time I've ever played it all the way through, which was freaking epic and super fun. But I'll get back to DK Mikey's comment. So these Sega boards can be real problematic. There's one chip in particular on the Sega board, which handles all the sprites. That chip you can't find, there's no replica version of that chip. There's no chip that you can get to replace that chip. So if that chip dies on you, your only real recourse is finding another Sega System X board and harvesting that chip from it. So it's kind of a bummer. So I'm actually thinking about putting like a heat sink and a fan and making sure that chip stays as cool as possible, so that because eventually that chip will die. But what the Smarty Pie is so someone developed a PCB that you attach a Pi to, right? It's a custom build of software. It doesn't like show you Emulation Station. It doesn't boot into RetroPie. It literally boots right into the game. So it'll boot into Afterburner, but all of the board connections all support the original Sega connection. So you don't modify your arcade cabinet at all. You plug and play it into this board. It's really freaking cool. Obviously, it's emulation versus original hardware, but you're able to play other games too. So it'll support Space Harrier, I think, on the Afterburner configuration, and Thunderblade, which I've owned a Thunderblade. That's a fun game if you've never played Thunderblade, because those games all work with a thruster, which Afterburner has, a flight stick, and then you have like a 2 gun triggers, right? So pretty cool stuff, man. Like the Smarty Pie is actually pretty cool. I'm gonna totally buy the Smarty Pie. But I don't think I'm going to make it a replacement. I just want to play with it. But who knows? Maybe I'll be like, it's indistinguishable from the real hardware. And then did you hear me? I got a little buzzed. I was like, indistinguishable. It was like indistinguishable from the real hardware. All right, we're 45 minutes in. Anyway, this guy talks for a while. He says a bunch of really European things that I don't understand, but he's a good dude. I donated the money to the project. I have the ROM files. I will be burning those ROM files. And the project is called Smarty Pie, and I'll show you that really, really quick. Smarty Pie, because you guys will think this is cool. It's a very neat, like, this is one of those things where, even if you're a purist, shit, I closed the thing down. Damn it. Hold on. Smarty Pie. Even if you're a purist, like, there's going to be times where, like, the PCBs die and there's no recourse. If Mr. isn't doing it, you need some. And Mr., for Mr. to develop a plug and play configuration for Sega specific stuff, I don't know that they would go that far. But anyways, let me show you this really neat, because it's cool. Yeah, dude. So how do I get to that and stuff? There we go. Smarty Pie. Okay, so this board right here, this one is showing you the Outrun one. So you'll see it supports Outrun and Turbo Outrun, but you'll see, like, this is where all the original harnesses connect. So it's like a replacement for your Sega PCB. Like, this is neat that there's people out there that are actually thinking enough to do this kind of stuff. Like, this is what's keeping, potentially at some point, this is going to keep these arcade games alive, you know, because there are custom chips that Sega use that you can't get anymore. And you know, I can't go to like 1-800-SEGA and, you know, I have to go and seek out and find if I need to harvest a chip, and the only other board that I can find that on is an Outrun board. I got to go find someone that has an Outrun board, and then that's kind of you're kind of conflicted there too, because now you could be destroying potentially a working Outrun board to make your other game work. So it's one of those things. This is a very needed thing for the Sega universe, and it's pretty neat. Like Enduro Racer, that's a cool. I don't know if you guys ever remember Enduro Racer. I believe, if I remember right, Enduro Racer is the one where you're on a dirt bike and you pull back on the whole entire controls pull back. It's just super cool. Anyways, there's just so many cool solutions out there. That's why I thought I'd share that real quick with you guys, because I thought you'd think it's neat. Anyway, all right, what else we got here? Did I ever get my 4-player? I don't know what you mean by that. Did I ever get my 4-player? Yeah, it's good to have a backup plan, man. Totally. That's a bloody proper piece of equipment. It really is. Like, that's really neat that someone went, think about it. Like, they went to that length to do that, to help other people that have Sega games, keeping them running. I mean, that's cool. Like, eventually, I don't remember who I was talking to about this. I never remember who I'm talking to. I was talking to someone about, like, are we the last generation to care? And so I was thinking, you know, that's why I'm always like, hey, let's get more people on board that want to do preservation of the games, because I don't know that after us people are going to care, because the generations after us didn't really grow up in arcade. So maybe they're not as meaningful to them. So anyways, I'm going to hold on to it for as long as I possibly can. You know what I mean? And if I still think, even if it becomes a really small group that cares, it's still going to be one of those cool things, because as they get older and older and older, people are going to be amazed by them. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, what is this? I think. Because think about it, right? Kids, these like hipster kids go to these arcade bars and they think it's super cool to see these machines. So I think that'll always be the case. But I do think it'll be less and less of people carrying the torch and wanting to do the restoration work and stuff like that and preserving them. That's unfortunate, but I think that's the case. That's why I get all amped up when someone's like wants to butcher a machine and I mean, obviously, anybody that buys, they can do whatever they want with it. But it bothers me a little bit because there's no more of these being made. So let's try to treat them like the antiques that they are. Okay. Does anyone here have MK123 and plus ROM files? That's a super chat from Stringer. Thank you, buddy. I wish I had burnt them when I had them. It was dumb of me not to. But it looks like Warner Brothers shut down. If you don't know this, there was a guy that just a hobbyist who decided to fix a lot of the things about the MK games. Like in MK2, we all know the computer cheats like a mofo. And so he fixed that. He has a new version of the ROMs that fix that. The character select screen is different. There's a bunch of cool stuff that they did, and they fixed some issues with Mortal Kombat. The problem is, which is so crazy because the guy had the ROM files available for a long time. I guess Warner Brothers went after him. I think the site, yeah, Steve, I think the site is actually shut down. I'm pretty sure it is. I'll look really quick, but it was last week. Mortal Kombat Plus. Yeah, check it out. Look at this. This sucks. This was the site right here. I can't believe that. It was like that last week, and I'm guessing, I am sort of guessing, but yeah, MortalKombatPlus.com. That sucks, man. Like, look, when you search it, it says untitled. Let's see if the Wayback Machine has it, though. Let's look. Does the Wayback Machine still work? Wayback Machine. Is that still a thing? That's still a thing, right? What was it? Was it Mortal Kombat? Mortal Kombat Plus? No. Shit. Hold on. Mortal Kombat Plus. That is what it is. It's MortalKombatPlus.com. All right, hold on. Hold on, guys. Are you guys seeing this Wayback bullshit? Okay, cool. I'll make it bigger so you can see it in a second. But the Wayback Machine should have it, but you'll see the website existed. But so there's a snapshot from April, July, So there's one from December. Was it still up December? That's December 11th. I doubt it was still up December 11th. No, it wasn't up December 11th. So let's see. I don't know if you guys know about the Wayback Machine. It's kind of cool. I know it was up. It had to be up in July. So let's see. Really? Why is it not? Why are we not having it back in July? I know it was up then. All right, let's go back to April then. Forbidden. What the hell? Really? It couldn't have been down for that long. I haven't gone and looked for a long time, but maybe it's been down for longer than I know. This looks like it's actually going to pull it up now. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. That's crazy. So it might have been down for a long time. So here's the MK2 Plus. You can go and, you had to donate. They didn't want to they were very controlled, and you could even go and look, you could look up where to play it, and it would show you like what barcades and stuff had it. I don't even know if this is going to work, but yeah, it's a bummer, man. Yeah, where to play it. Look, Desert Sky Games. So this place is in Chandler, Arizona, San Diego. They've got it. Wichita, Kansas. GameWorks in Oregon. This looks like some dude's house. So you can go to that guy's house. Replay Games. Pink Rhino Tattoo in Chicago, Illinois. So I know other places have it, but those are the places that it's showing that advertise that have it. So it was really cool when I don't know why I didn't burn them. I mean, I was trying to be respectful for the fact that I actually paid for them. Do you have the address of where your Plus ROMs are? I do, actually. No, I don't have the address, but I can look up the guy. Yeah, it's too bad, man. It's really too bad that got taken down. Oh, your MK Source has them. Okay, I wonder if he'd distribute them or help people get them. I don't know. It's a real shame because it was very cool. Let me see if I have. For those of you interested, I'll show you. Like, they have a list of what it did. Like on MK2 Plus, I'll bring that up really quick so you can see because it did a lot of cool stuff. By the way, there was like really no voicemails, so I couldn't do that. But I didn't. Usually I have to ask beforehand and say, hey guys, like leave a voicemail, but no one did. So, there wasn't that many people that did. Oh man, what happened there? Okay, so I'll read it off to you guys because it's probably small. Actually, you can't even see it. Why? Hold on, give me one sec, guys. Tab, Mortal Kombat 2. Oh, there we go, Mortal Kombat 2. So he has a list of the things like, I don't know if he has it, reset unlock. So unlike MK3, you can choose to relock the secret characters if you've already unlocked them. This is useful to force stock characters to tourney play, or if you wish to challenge yourself to unlock them again. Random ladders. Did you know there are 6 predefined ladder arrangements in the Factory 3.1 release? My random ladder options fix that by 100% randomizing the ladders. And there's endurance matches. There's so much stuff. Like there's so much cool stuff. There's a combo system. Combos now have displayed hit counts on screen. This is a great addition, and I feel like I could even improve it by adding more effects. There's an alternate select screen, which is really cool. There's 2 versus 2 tag mode. There's just a lot of neat stuff. It's really a shame that this got shut down, but Warner Brothers is being an asshole. They're going after like everyone. They're going after my buddy, shit. I can't think of his name right now. Anyways, they're going after everybody. If you go and look at Southern Fried Gaming Expo, they talked about it. Yeah, they're going after like Pacina and everybody, saying, hey man, you can't make money based on the franchise. It's really unfortunate. It really is. I was an ass and I had it and I didn't really showcase it properly when I had it. Yeah, Paul Niemeyer. Thank you, DK Mikey. Yeah, they went after Paul Niemeyer. They made it so that he had to put things that say like WB forbid me to show this, which is so crazy because in their original contract it said things like that they were able to use Mortal Kombat assets to promote themselves. And yeah, anyways. Anyways, guys, well, that's kind of it. That's all I wanted to talk about. I'm going on my trip, so I'm going to be gone for a little while, but I plan on, I'm back on Monday night, so it's not that long of a trip. But I'm going to be back on Monday night. I'll probably do a coffee talk. We'll do the Christmas special right before Christmas, probably on Wednesday. And then I'm trying to think what else I'm going to do. And I'll probably release one more video next week. I don't know what it's going to be, though. I don't know. I might just try to finish the Robotron. We'll see. Maybe I'll try to get everything back in the Robotron. I'm not really sure. But we'll definitely have one more video next week. I got a couple shorts coming out and stuff like that. So we'll have some fun next week. Maybe I'll go live a couple times and we can just have some fun and all stuff like that. But yeah, anyways, I appreciate you guys joining. And I know we were kind of all over the place, but hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. And I'm going to definitely miss not doing, well, wait, I'm not going to miss anything because we did the coffee talk tonight. So I'll actually not miss anything because we're going to do a coffee talk next week. And I'll be on the Outsiders with Mike of All Trades. So if you go to Mike of All Trades, if you go to the Mike of All Trades, why am I so out of it? If you go to Mike of All Trades on YouTube, subscribe to him and don't miss the Outsiders podcast, which is Mike of All Trades, myself, Travis MCP, and Your Average Gamer. We do talk a little bit about it's I'm gonna talk a little bit of smack right now because it was supposed to be a podcast where we don't talk about home arcade, which is the reason why I said I would do it in the first place. So I hope we don't talk about home arcade anymore because that's the whole point. We want to talk about bidets because people want to know how to clean their asses properly. Anyways, I don't mind if we talk about that. It's just I don't really have a lot to add because I'm kind of out of the game. I'm out of that game. But that's what we said. We promised that would be it. But Moat disobeyed. He disobeyed. I love him, but he disobeyed. It's probably more Travis. Travis is influencing Moat. That's what's happening. That's right. See? We both think the same way. Blame Travis. Exactly. But we talked a lot about bidets. I mean, there's only so many times you can talk about cleaning your butthole. I mean, it is what it is. It's exhilarating. It's amazing. And guess what? My mom doesn't have one. So I'm gonna be bidetless. My butt is gonna be dirty for like 4 days. I probably won't poop the whole time. I won't. And this was before that. I don't poop when I travel. It's the most aggravating thing. It sucks. My whole body. And then my mom, think about it. I have an Italian mother who will feed me over and over and over, and she'll make everything I love. She's great. I love that. But imagine not being able to poop and someone shoving more food in you. She becomes a food terrorist for those 4 days. Anyways, all right. It's crazy. And I love my mom. But she doesn't know about my problems. I can't poop when I travel. So imagine I got pasta and meatballs and braciole and sphriadels and friggin' peanut butter cookies with dumplings and there's everything. There's so much food and I can't poop. And I don't have a bidet, so my butt's like the whole time. It's terrible. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope that when you travel, you can poop because it's terrible. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. That's it for now, guys. I will see you next week. I hope you guys have a great weekend. And I'm not going to say happy holidays because we will be seeing you next week. And we will see you on the next one. Thank you for all your support. I hope your bowel movements are great. And take it easy.